Hello, this is John Owen-Jones. I'm the Phantom in the Phantom of the Opera, and you're listening to Vic's Angel of Metal.
The Angel of Metal. Sweet sister with a soul so sweetly sad. Angel of Metal. Can't come scratching now. Dig it right in.
Okay guys, this is Vicky, the Angel of Metal. I'm at a current location that I'm not normally at. I would be at the Academy or the Apollo or even the MEN, but I'm at the Palace Theatre in the bowels of the theatre, and I'm talking to an absolute cool dude he's a man of many tricks, and I'm really excited to be talking to him right now. I'm talking to John Owen-Jones. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, man. You?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
How are you finding Manchester?
Yeah, it's pretty cool when it's not raining. Yeah.
It's quite limited up north.
Yeah, but then again I'm Welsh, so I'm kind of used to that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right, so we're here to talk about many things. You know, you got your album that's just come out.
Yeah.
Of course, the show that you're currently in, which is Phantom of the Opera, you are playing the lead as the Phantom.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to give a surprise to our listeners towards the end of the interview as to what you're actually into.
All right, okay.
Okay.
Well, so fire away. What do you want to ask?
Okay, so your current album is called Unmasked. It's the second full-length album.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It's got some really good songs on it. You know, it got a bit of covers from Tom Jones and
Yeah.
Queen and lots of other great tracks and stuff. So tell me about the process as to, you know, how it came to be.
Okay, well, it's the second album I've recorded for a small Welsh label called Sign. Now, I've worked in musicals for many years, and that's kind of where my career path is. I'll just sit closer to the microphone, shall I?
Yeah.
And that's my career path has taken me that way, you know. So, because I trained as an actor, and I can sing musicals and stuff. So I'm currently playing the Phantom, and you know, I've played Valjean in Les Mis, and I've worked on Broadway. I've done the West End. So I was offered this little record contract to record whatever I wanted, basically. But obviously, I had to record kind of musical theatre stuff because that's what people wanted to hear. But on this new album, Unmasked, which in no way is named after the Kiss album, that's purely coincidence. It's obviously named Unmasked because it's about me and I'm playing the Phantom, and the Phantom wears a mask, right? I put some musical theatre songs in there, but I thought I'd chuck a couple of interesting tracks in there. I've obviously got a Tom Jones number on there, a David Bowie version of a classic song called Nature Boy, and I've even covered a Queen track. So
Yes.
but I mean, there was one track I was going to put on it actually by Queensryche, but I elected not to in the end.
Which track was it?
Well, it's Silent Lucidity. So
okay,
yeah,
so it's a bit ballady, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of got that orchestral thing going on. You know, I couldn't really go for anything like anything from like Operation Mindcrime or anything like that. It's my favourite album, that is actually.
I know, yes.
But it would have been a bit too much. But that's a great track, and it's a song I love. But I didn't end up putting it on the album because there was no time.
Okay.
Yeah. So so that's how it came about, really, and it's doing very well.
Yes.
People seem to be responding to it very well because
It was #1 vocal on the iTunes chart as well.
Yeah. That was a surprise, I've got to say. #1 on a few of those kind of arbitrary Amazon iTunes charts. You know, it's nice to be up the top there. You know, it's cool. At one point I was even above Tom Jones, and you know, he's one of my heroes, so that was pretty cool.
Good stuff. It's probably one of those things, it's a bit surreal.
Yeah, it is a bit, yeah. I mean, Tom Jones, I've seen him live, and I've got most of his albums, and I recorded Thunderball on this album as an homage to him, you know, and
that's a track that he never really performs live anyway.
No, not really. That's kind of why I chose it. I wanted to do a Tom Jones track. You know, my mother wanted me to do a Tom Jones track, and but I couldn't do anything too well known. So I chose Thunderball, and also it lends itself to the theatricality that I'm used to performing with. You know.
Yeah, fair enough. Now let's talk about the Queen track. Is it true that you nearly got Brian May to perform on it? Yeah,
Brian May, so disappointing that eventually he couldn't, because I mean, he's a very busy man, and it's the 40th anniversary of Queen and all these kind of things, you know. But I saw him backstage at a Darkness gig at the Hammersmith Apollo, and I was like beside myself with joy because, you know, I happened to I swung backstage passes, and I love the Darkness, and I'm so delighted that they reformed, you know, because I've actually got their first single. So, what was that?
It's a bottle.
It's a bottle, right?
It's all right.
I've got their first single, you know, the Love and the Rocks EP, and you know, and I think that's like a couple of £100 on eBay now,
Yeah.
so I might flog it. And I got backstage and I saw Brian. I've met him a couple of times before because I know Kerry Ellis, who he works with a lot, and I asked him to be in the album, and he said, yeah, send me the track, and I sent him the demo, and he said, look, I'd love to do it, but I can't, it's simply not enough time. Why don't you just use the guitarist that you used in the demo? So that's what I did in the end. And the guitarist actually played for Budgie. The 70s heavy metal band, yeah, of course, Bread Fan and all that kind of stuff. He was one of their live guitarists for a little while. He's an amazing player called Muv, Welsh guy. So yeah, so it ended up all right in the end. And of course, Brian, I sent him the track and he loved it. So
at least it's got his approval. Anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. My brother couldn't believe it. My brother's a huge Queen fan, and he couldn't believe I even spoke to Brian, let alone nearly got him on the album.
See, the thing is, Brian May's a chancellor at I think it's Liverpool John Moores University, and he gives you your degree after when you finish, and that was nearly swaying my chances to go to that university.
Really?
Just to that? Go, yes, I love your music. But I couldn't do that. I went to a local one. It's all good anyway.
Yeah.
Love Never Dies is also Until I Hear You Sing Again. It's also covered on the album. Was that good for you to choose that particular song in regards to the Phantom, and also because it's set 10 years on from the current show that you're doing?
Well, I was I auditioned for the role originally, and you know, I loved that song, but that's one of the things that fans requested more than anything else, is that I put that on there. A lot of people who follow my career and, you know, love what I do with Phantom, really wanted me to go into Love Never Dies at some point, and you know, it wasn't meant to be, obviously, but so I kind of recorded that for those people, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good show. I mean, I saw it for my 21st last year. And it was
it was flawed, but it was good. Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I saw it. Ramin's a good friend of mine, and who played the Phantom, and I saw him on the last preview in the first incarnation, and then I saw it when they rejigged it, and it was a much better show the second time round. But I believe it's. I think it'll come back at some point. I should think. Yeah. I should hope so. It might be a job there for me.
Who knows? Anyway, so let's talk about Phantom stuff. Not many people know this, but we're called Angel of Metal, and that kind of stemmed from the show Angel of Music, Angel of Metal. Okay. Yeah. Not many people know that. So let's talk about the show. You played the Phantom the most times out of any performer.
Yeah.
So I was wondering.
Well, no, that's not strictly true. It's most in the West End.
Most in the West End.
Yeah. I'm in the UK now. Yeah. I'll be celebrating my 2000th show in Bristol. So, but I think there's a couple of Americans who've done more than me. A couple of people have done 3,000 or 4,000. But but they've been there for 25 years doing it. You know.
Of course. And the Phantom role is very interesting, you know, depending on the performer. So I was wondering, because you've played it for quite a number of years, how have you developed in that role?
Well, I was very aware when I first took the part on that it was an iconic role, you know, and there was like a serious fan base for the part, you know, and people love the Phantom, and they're so judgmental of different actors coming in, you know, and everyone's got their favourites, and I was very, very aware of that. So I guess when I first started, I was much more careful, and I did as I was told. I had a definite idea of what the Phantom should be and how I wanted to play it, but to begin with, I didn't really do that. I kind of told the party line, as it were, you know, the producer and the director wanted certain ways, so I kind of did that, you know, and who am I to argue, you know, because they obviously know what they're doing. But eventually I've managed to, you know, be doing the role long enough now that now we've come to reinvent it with this 25th anniversary tour. Cameron McIntosh came to me and said, come on, I want you to have a go at this because I think you can take it somewhere new, and hopefully we have, you know. We've stripped the melodrama away from it. It's a much more real show now, and I think as a result it's more effective.
Yes, I was going to say, like, is it refreshing to, because I know it's a new set, some new costumes, but you're singing the same, you know, the melodies and the lyrics and everything like that. But as a performer, it must be kind of like, because you've done it so many times in London, and now to take it on the road, it's a bit like, does it feel like a new show? Oh,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, we literally went straight back to the drawing board, brand new set. I mean, it's probably a bigger set design than the London production. It's not as theatrically... How can I put this delicately? It's not as theatrically clever as the original, because they had limited kind of design. There was lots of design problems inherent in this show, but of course technology's moved on. So the design problems that were solved by Maria Bjornsson originally were much easier to cope with now. So we've got a completely different set. It's much more about the underneath of the theatre and less about you know, the performance aspect of it, the opera and stuff. Anyway, I kind of taken the role. I forgot what your question was.
It feels like a brand new show, doesn't it? You know,
well,
with
yeah.
all the
No, that's
steps
what I was going to say. Yeah. So me and the director sat down and we said, look, how are we going to do Music of the Night? You know, because originally it was choreographed.
Yeah.
It's not really directed. I mean, when it was originally directed, this show, Hal Prince used to only work mornings. The director, he would work 10 till 1, and that was it. He'd have the afternoon off. So and he did it in 3 weeks. They put the whole show on in 3 weeks. So he had a very definite plan of how he wanted the show to look, and along with the choreographer. As long as the choreographer, they had a very definite plan on how the show was going to look. But with this, you know, we had the set design, and that was it. That's all we had. That and the music, and everything else, you know, we had carte blanche to do what we wanted with. And me and the director sat down, looked at the script, and said, "What's this song actually saying?" You know. So we kind of gone back to, it's more about a lesson. It's more about the music and things like that. So it's an interesting new look at the piece. But I liken it to, you know, you could take Hamlet or King Lear and then have two totally fresh, new, different productions with the same script, and that's what we've done with this, really.
Cool. What would you? I'm not too sure if you're allowed to say, but what new elements are in the show? What's different?
There's a brand new magic trick at the end. You know, the Phantom famously disappears when he's sitting in the throne at the end of the London production. Well, in this one, we have an illusion which happens right in front of your eyes. So the Phantom disappears in the middle of the stage, right in front of you.
Wow.
So and it frequently gets a round of applause, which is quite quite strange. But yeah, and it's, you'll have to come and see it. It's so difficult to describe, but people usually are kind of gobsmacked by the size of it all. You know, and one of the things we have to do with this production is, because it's the famous chandelier, to make it a touring version, you have to kind of go to theatres where you know, it's an older theatre like this, for example, or the Leeds Grand, and the chandelier can't drop because it's a whole really expensive process to strengthen the ceiling and all that kind of thing. So they've come up with an alternative ending. Now, some people have complained that they're missing the chandelier drop, but I'm quite happy with what happens instead.
Is the chandelier still there?
Chandelier is still there, yeah, but it doesn't drop onto the stage.
You're not going to have
like
a heart attack when it might drop on you then?
No, you might have a heart attack anyway from what else we've got.
Okay,
So, yeah.
fair enough. Yeah. Now, let's move on to Kiss now.
Yeah.
Paul Stanley played the Phantom
Yeah.
back in the day. Did that kind of influence you to go for the role in any way?
Not at all.
Not
No,
at all.
I saw his performance, or some of his performance on YouTube, and
All right, on YouTube. I was like, you saw Paul
No, I
Stanley?
didn't saw. No, and he wasn't very good. So you know, I think he probably would admit that. I love Kiss. I absolutely love them. I've seen them live quite a few times. Last time was in Glasgow, 2010. And yeah, I mean, they're fantastic and theatrical, but I think Paul Stanley didn't really get it. You know, it's
an interesting take.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it was all about selling tickets. So I would have paid to go and see Paul Stanley do it. Yeah. So that's the game we're in, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the guy, I don't know if you're probably too young to remember Soap. Do you remember that TV program? Okay, no, and then there's a show called Benson. The Black Butler from Soap had his own show. Okay. Yeah, and then he was the first Black Phantom. Now, obviously,
right, yeah,
and then I can't remember his real name, but you know, that's just to sell tickets. You know, I don't know if he was any good, but you know, stunt casting. It's been around for years and years.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about metal. You said that you went to a Darkness gig and you're a big fan of the Darkness and everything as well. I want to take it back to your early memories of rock. What was it that got you into the genre that we love, that is heavy metal?
Bon Jovi on the radio when I was in Scouts. We were doing a Scout camp in Hay-on-Wye, and this song came on the radio, and it was "You Give Love a Bad Name." I'm like, what the hell is that? You know, that's just, what is this? It's like melodic, it's rocking, it's high singing. I love it. Then of course I went and explored Bon Jovi, and then the next band I got turned on to was Iron Maiden, which confused me to begin with. I was like, what, 14, 15, something like that.
What era are we talking? Are we Maiden?
We're talking Power Slave.
Okay, so Bruce
Power Slave.
Era,
Yeah. The three classic albums, actually. The main album I got into was Seventh Son, which I still listen to all the time. And it was that album actually which really made me a rocker. It was Seventh Son and then Queensryche Operation Mindcrime. My brother, God bless him, we went to see Maiden in Donington in 1988 when Guns N' Roses were on the bill. And when two fans died, and Kiss were there, and Dave Lee Roth, Megadeth.
When it was good.
It was amazing, yeah. And I remember somebody chucking a bottle of piss and it landing on me. So happy days. But a few months before that, I'd seen Michael Jackson live.
Right.
You know, with Kim Wilde. supporting. So I mean, it's like from the Sublime
extreme
to
to
yeah,
the other.
it was. But I was absolutely hooked when I saw Maiden live. That was it. I knew what that was the music for me, and I've always loved them ever since. So but that my brother, because I really wanted to listen to this band Queensryche. I'd never heard their stuff, but all the write-ups in Kerrang was like, oh wow, we've got to get this album. I didn't have any money, and my brother bought me the album for Christmas, but he put it on a little tape.
Okay.
I said, a friend of mine's got this album. I've got a couple of tracks for you to listen to. See if you like it. And then I listened to it, and it was like, I can remember the tracks. It was Spreading the Disease, Speak, and Sweet Sister Mary. And I remember them vividly, listening to them on an ancient Walkman, going, oh my God, this is the music for me. Definitely. And then I got it for Christmas, and he already knew I liked it, so he knew I was going to be chuffed with it.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those iconic metal albums, of course. Operation Mindcrime, and they did another one.
Yeah, well,
was
let's
following
say
on
that
that.
better, really. I mean, Dia was amazing on it, but it's just they should have stayed with. They kind of petered out. I don't know what happened when Chris DeGarmo left the band. I think everything kind of went downhill for them, really.
Yeah, well, they've got a new one. It's called American Soldier.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Did you not?
No.
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I find out I have a problem with Jeff Tate's voice nowadays. It's kind of
live.
It's gone,
yeah.
Isn't it, really? And I'm not surprised with the way he used to sing. But he was a huge influence on me as a singer. Him and Bruce Dickinson, Midnight from Crimson Glory.
Yes.
Michael
God
Kiske
Rest
from
His
Halloween.
Soul.
Yeah, I know. It's very sad. All those kind of classic, Ronnie James Dio, Ian Gillan, all those kind of singers. I mean, Ian Gillan did Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
And I've got a lock of his hair.
How did you get that?
That's a long story, but a friend of mine actually ended up cutting his hair once and got his autograph and kept me and gave me a lock of his hair. I didn't ask for it, I just wanted his autograph.
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. That's mental, isn't it? Yeah.
It's quite scary.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't know I got it, but I
No.
mean, if I ever meet him, I might tell him.
Okay.
That'll freak him out, yeah.
Does it kind of boggle your mind when you've got, people like Brian May as well? You've worked with him on the track and everything. You've got these rock stars, who are coming to you and want to work with you. Does it boggle your mind, or do you embrace it, or do you fan out?
A bit of both, really. I mean, because I've worked hard to get where I am, so I kind of feel like I deserve to be where I am, because I put the effort in. But yet, when Justin Hawkins followed me on Twitter, I couldn't believe my luck. It's like, there's only one person I'd really like to work with, and that would probably be Steve Harris from Maiden. Bruce and all those are brilliant and everything, but Steve has got that singular vision, which has just has kind of shaped my kind of life, really.
He's definitely like the main driving force behind Maiden. He writes all the music and everything. So
and doesn't compromise. I mean, the fact that they kept going with Blaze Bayley. I even travelled up to Sheffield to see them on the X Factor tour. No, not the X Factor tour, Virtual 11 tour. Okay. And Blaze was out of tune and everything, and
But I think, I was actually talking about this to my mum before. Blaze went on Bruce Dickinson's radio show when he was on BBC Radio 6.
Really?
Yeah, and he did an interview and he was like, well, Steve Harris was just writing music that I couldn't, he was writing it for you and I just couldn't get that high. And it was like, oh.
Yeah. No, that's very true. When you see Bruce sing songs like X Factor now, you think, well, Sign of the Cross, sorry, X Factor's the album. You think, well, actually, yeah. And I remember watching Blaze going, I loved him in Wolfsbane. I loved Wolfsbane when they were supporting Maiden in 1990.
Yeah.
And he was climbing up the lighting rig and stuff, and in Newport Centre, it was fantastic.
He's still a good friend of mine. It boggles the mind.
They're back together, aren't they, Wolfsbane?
Yeah.
And they're gigging the end of the year, I think.
They are, and they're playing the Grand Central, which is literally across the road. He's playing the pub across the road, the Grand Central.
When?
I don't know. It's on the
posters.
posters.
Do you know their live album?
Wolfsbane,
yeah. I'm on that. I'm in the audience.
Really?
Yeah, I was at that gig. Yeah.
Nice one.
Oh, I've got a full-on rock pedigree, me. I'm not just the Phantom of the Opera.
I know. This is what I want to dive into.
I'm convinced you can hear me screaming on it as well. I'm convinced. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, of course, with being a Western star, you tend to do covers albums. I don't want to say that, but
I don't write my own music, so what am I going to do?
I know. I was wondering, what rock songs would you like to have on a rock and metal album?
Oh my God, that is such a big question.
Choose three. We'll go
choose three. Well, if I was to sing, why don't I just say my three favourite metal songs? That's what you want to know, isn't it? Yeah. Well, The Trooper by Maiden. Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be by AC/DC. Okay. I love that track. It was a great riff and overlooked as well.
Yes.
Should I choose a Queensryche? No, I might go for Caffeine Bomb by the Wild Hearts.
Oh,
I was actually Ginger. Yeah. I mean, Another guy, yeah, Ginger. I was hugely influenced by him as well. I mean, you know, obviously he's made a lot of mistakes with drugs and stuff, but to still create music. Now, let me tell you a story, right? This is so embarrassing. I was once on the train, right? And Ginger came on, this is the Tube, and he came on and he sat right opposite me, and I could not believe it, right? I'm like, oh my God, I've loved this band since like Mondo Akimbo ago, right? I'm like, oh my God, say something. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? And it was in the point where he'd taken a hiatus, he'd kind of disappeared off the radar, and my stop was coming, and I thought, I'm going to have to get off now, but I've got to say something. So I got up and I said, excuse me, Ginger. He went, yeah, man. Please come back and save rock. And then I walked off. I couldn't believe it. And then I saw him again. Somehow I was invited to his 40th birthday party at the Intrepid Fox in London after they'd done a gig. A friend of mine, and I'd gone along. And I didn't say anything about saying that to him on the Tube. No, far too embarrassing.
Did you keep your distance?
No, I talked to him.
Okay.
I talked to all the band. And then I saw the band again at Gatwick Airport once. At random. You know, it's like they're following me or something. I could listen to Wild Hearts. In fact, Desert Island Discs, I would only take the Wild Heart. Okay, all right. And quick question before you have to go. I know you're a big Twitter fan as well. You've been doing Music of Tonight. Yes. And evidently you've been a bit quiet when you've been in Manchester because of the phone signals and everything. Well, yeah, no, the thing is because my dressing room is kind of underground, and I spend my time playing a character who lives underground, who looks hideous, and listens to the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber. And that's exactly what I do off stage in my dressing room as well. I look in the mirror with the makeup on thinking, God, I'm hideous, and I can hear the music of Andrew Lloyd Webber. And, you know, just to get me out to that kind of musical theatre thing I used to play. I was wondering, can you bring us up to speed of what you've been listening to when you've been getting ready? Well, it's the new Ginger triple album. I've been listening to that a lot. And as I told you before the interview, actually, I've been reading this Appetite for Destruction book by Mick Wall. And it's all bands from the 80s. So I've kind of had a big 80s fest. Dave Lee Roth, Megadeth. You know, Metallica, you know, there's all that kind of classic stuff, you know. Cinderella, do you remember them? Love them. So, Bon Jovi, what else have we got on here? Yeah, it's fascinating. No, I never, King's X, now they're a band, aren't they? Oh, see, yeah, happy days. Good times. Yeah, Ozzy, of course. Yes. So, you might know the answer to this, actually, nothing to do with anything, but when's the new Muse album out? I don't know, I'm not a big Muse fan. Your loss. Yeah, I know. But I know when the new Rush album's coming out. When's that coming out? It's coming out very soon. After the tour, what's coming up next for you? Well, it's all kind of vague, but I'm going to hopefully do a tour of my own. So I've kind of been wearing the mask for a long time now, and working and doing 8 shows a week is absolutely exhausting. I look older than I actually am, and so it's time to kind of have a bit of a rest from the 8 shows a week and just kind of go out on the road and be myself for a little while, and then, you know, see what comes up, really. Good times, alright. And what's the album tonight? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to play tonight. What do you recommend? Bit of Megadeth. I had Rust in Peace on the other night. Yeah. Go on. What else? Tool? Did you say? Tool. Oh, the Tool. Tool are amazing. Yeah. When's their new album out? I don't know. It's like 5 years in the making. I hope it's not going into Chinese democracy. That would be disastrous, wouldn't it? I know. Touch wood. I don't know what I'm going to play. Yeah, maybe a bit of Metallica. I'm a big fan of the Saint Anger album. A lot of people hate it. Really? But I really like it. Yeah. Controversial. I like it. Do you know what? Right, when I was in Paris doing Les Mis, there's a patisserie right next to the theatre where I was, and I walked towards the patisserie to go in there, and who came out but Rob Trujillo, right, with a baby on his arm, right, and a bag full of pastries, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Metallica! Look, it's the bassist from Metallica, everyone! And all these actors with me going, who? I'm like, and then he got in a van and drove off, and I don't know what on earth he was even doing in Paris, because they weren't playing there or anything. And then, but he was in the patisserie I used to go to every day. It's crazy. Well, John, it's been absolutely, I could talk to you about music and rock bands, you know, forever. It's just too much to talk about, isn't it? Yeah. I love it. It's a big part of my life. Definitely. Yeah. Well, I'd love to chat to you again, maybe hopefully in the future, maybe catch you on tour. Yeah, cool. But if you want to keep up to date, it's johnowenjones.com. You're on Twitter as well. Yeah. So yes, keep in touch and everything. Yeah, good luck with everything. It's been well done on the album. Cheers, thank you very much. Smashing. The angel of metal.